Right to Chris Broussard. Don't want to waste any time. The former New York Times sports writer, Fox Sports NBA analyst, now joining me live. Don't want to waste any time. Westbrook John Wall trade. There was a draft pick. I don't care. It's the NBA draft. It's all about prospects anyway. I loved Westbrook over Wall as a trade piece. I mean, I think Westbrook's a much better player. Do you?
Yeah, especially at this point. I mean, he was better than John Wall anyway. But John Wall hasn't played a game in almost 2 years. He hasn't played a full season in about 3 years. So we have no idea what he's going to come back with. The only guy you can point to who came back from an Achilles injury and was the same is Dominique Wilkins. Now, that's a good sign for Wall because Wilkins was athletic, explosive, as is Wall. But it's no guarantee he's going to be the same player. But even if he is, I think Washington won this trade because Westbrook makes them relevant.
Yeah.
All right, they haven't been relevant for a few years, out of the playoffs. Now you're must-see TV. Everybody wants to see what Westbrook and Bradley Beal can do.
Right.
They'll put shooters around him. They got Davis Bertrands, and they'll play off Westbrook and see what they can do. Look, I give them a shot to make the playoffs in the East, and this is what Westbrook has that Wall doesn't, even though both of them were explosive athletes. Westbrook plays with an aggressiveness and a ferocity that is so unique and so dynamic that it's an X factor for your team and for the opponent. It keeps the opponent off guard, off balance, because this dude is so unique and dynamic. And it's kind of like a boxer with a knockout punch.
Yeah, no.
He might not be technically sound,
Right.
can't do it. Deontay Wilder can't do much else, but he can always catch you. That threat is there, right? That's Westbrook. So at least you got that. I mean, you're not winning a championship in Washington, but you're relevant, you're sexy, you're a lot more fun than you were 2 days ago.
So LeBron and Anthony Davis are locked in now for a couple of years. A lot of stars in this league do not get along. Why do those two get along so well?
Well, one, LeBron is just, he's great at things like that. I mean, obviously he had his issues with Kyrie, but a lot of that was just Kyrie was the young gun and didn't want to hear from the older guy. But a lot of this, Colin, is where they're at in their career, okay? LeBron has done so much individually, winning championships. He's not threatened by AD whatsoever. So he's ready to mentor him. He doesn't mind if AD gets some shine or even the shine. At this point in his career, he's ready to mentor him. And when you bring two young guns together and they're both still climbing, that's when you often have problems. Shaq and Penny, they could have been one of the greatest duos ever, but they were both young guns and they were worried about who was getting the credit. In Philadelphia, the people will tell you that's the problem with Embiid and Simmons. Is that they're fighting for credit. Who's the man? Who's the star on the team? Shaq and Kobe obviously had success, but they were still both so close in age, both in their prime and young and climbing, that they butted heads about that. Kareem and Magic didn't know because Kareem had won a championship. He had his 5, 6 MVPs. Magic's rookie year was his 6th. And he had been a while without winning, so he didn't mind a young gun coming in and helping him. And Magic wasn't threatened by Kareem. It was more like a big brother, little brother relationship. And that's what this is. This is big brother, little brother versus two little brothers who are fighting for daddy's attention. So I think that's a big part of why they do get along so well. And there's no threat there from each other.
You know, yesterday The Athletic broke a piece that was pretty remarkable on Kawhi, Paul George, the star treatment. And, the NBA's got one king. It's King James. But there's a lot of guys that want the treatment like Paul George, and they don't have anything to show for it. Were you surprised by the animosity apparently behind closed doors with this Clippers team?
Well, I wasn't surprised just because I had been hearing it, for the past few months that there were issues there, that it was really, Montrezl Harrell, Lou Williams, and Pat Beverly were bothered by the culture change where, before the two stars got there, they were the little engine that could. They had a culture, work your tail off, and those three got a lot of shine, even though they weren't really stars. And then you bring Kawhi and Paul George in, and everything changed culturally. And that was a problem. I was told, too, that, obviously some things Kawhi did rub guys the wrong way, not really practicing, not really being connected to the team, flying in and being late for flights coming from San Diego. Obviously, that rubs you the wrong way. But for the most part, guys, what I was told, were not as bothered by Kawhi because he delivered. If you're going to get star treatment, they all understand. They've been in the league long enough to know there's star treatment for guys. But when you deliver, guys can live with it. Paul George wasn't delivering. When he's giving you 10 points in a playoff game, guys are going to be bothered by why are you getting this star treatment. I said this a few months ago. There were people on that roster that thought they were as good or better than Paul George. And I'm not talking about Kawhi. So they were the ones looking at it like, how is this dude getting all this special treatment? And I think I'm better than him, or at least as good as him. Why am not I getting that? So that was the problem. But I tell you what, Colin, I think that they're going to be better for it this year. I think they'll be humbled. I think they'll be motivated. Obviously, they got Montrezl Harrell out. They think that's addition by subtraction. Serge Ibaka is a great chemistry guy, locker room guy. He's close with Kawhi. He can bring out the fun guy in Kawhi. So I think the Clippers will be better. People are writing them off at their own peril. Lakers should be the favorite, no question about it. But don't write off the Clippers just yet.
Chris Broussard, odd couple with Rob Parker. It always looks so well appointed. So look at him. He's just very classy. You bring some dignity and class to our show, and it's certainly from where I sit, it's certainly needed. Good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you, man. Love the show.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.